Says, yeah, I like that one better, bro. No, you're pretty good at the title and shit, but I like that. I like this one better. So, um, let me, you know, I should also say this is no, oops, okay, that's already in the title. Um, and I'm not shouting when I put the caps here. No filter free spirit. So we have 4 of you here, and I'm gonna just explain about an individual, and you tell me if he sounds familiar. It's not that he's necessarily unique, but he kind of is, and we'll figure this out together. So whether you've ever seen my videos or not, sometimes something 10. I think we just set a Guinness record within like such a short amount of time, and I've got both ones over here. Whether you've ever seen my videos or not, and I will also say in the comments here, religion, just for anybody who tunes in after I say it, can coexist with this. Um, I am a channeler, and I have met a guy that way named Colton. Pretty sure spelled the way it is in the title, because there was a bit of a thing to that, which I mentioned in the previous video. And what would I say about what I know about him so far? Um, I mean, I'll try and give direct quotes. Some will happen in the moment, some I did pre-experience, and it was just so amazing. I just couldn't not. And basically, he's got a great sense of humor. He's kind of a rap performer, or he was 17. Wow, he is still doing it on the other side. By the way, the rap, and just being the great person that he is. Um, and it's interesting. This is very very interesting. Um, that we have 17 people here right now, and last night when I first connected with him, I don't remember how it came up, and now it went down to 3. Maybe that's meant to be the other, 3 that are here. Maybe are the ones that are supposed to be here. Sunny, go lay down. Sorry, talking to our dog. Um, or maybe he just randomly shared with me because he isn't shy. Um, one thing I've learned with disability is names is how we remember somebody. What I learned this morning, I think it was, or last night, but I was trying to sleep. I didn't want to be disruptive in the home. It's now to 5. But is that, they have a choice whether they want to keep their name when they pass away. And he says he's always liked his, so he has. Um, um, but he also shared with me, okay, how he passed away was drug related. We got that too. And it was near his birthday. And whether, I will say this too, whether this sounds like somebody that you're familiar with or not, or have been familiar with in your life, and even if you feel their presence, I welcome you to be here. There's also a woman named Samoa that might come into this. Samoa later. but me and this Colton dude seem to have a lot in common. I'm high energy. He's a bit more high energy, so buckle up, kind of thing. But yeah, so he told me that I believe he's 18 now. I think he was trying to tell me he was 17 when he passed away about a year ago. He's actually closer to 19. There was a bit of a glitch when I came back from doing something I had to take care of. We got a delivery, and part of it was a case of water, and the one case, or I saw it was kind of dripping a little bit, and the top was kind of wet, but the other one I thought was above it was not at all wet. And I looked at all the bottles, and there was nothing missing from any of them. And it was weird because I was like, oh, I really just want to get back to the start the next podcast, featuring your lovely soul, essentially. And it says, I don't really want to deal with this water. He says, I wish I could help you. And then he let me know as viewer left that he kind of did. Like he was just making sure that that it was guarded, being watched until I got to it, the other person in the home, because that's the number that they have for delivery. Although the guys think this wasn't great, called to say I think it's been delivered, um, and so I did see it relatively quick. And he says, I was crying with happiness. First of all, he says, this is so cool. We get 4. He says, I'm really happy if I can connect with my loved ones. I'm happy I'm connecting with you. Yeah, I'm a little sad. I miss them. What I've learned about how angels in heaven experience emotions is not as they do, but not as strongly as we do. But I tell you, like, whether you knew this person or not, his personality is like not shy. As we get 6, I almost want to say, there may be certain, I put in the comments, I'm a free spirit. This guy's a free spirit. So, if you have kids around, put in headphones or realize we can't shelter them from the world. I'm not trying to do anything bad. I'm trying to, 16. It's not necessarily from an entertainment perspective, but it's just like it's not necessarily creative. It's a gift and its ability, but if the person was entertaining or was creative, and I do happen to be kind of both myself, then that will come through. So this guy's got a lot of energy now, but so do I. So hopefully, so far we've been gelling pretty good. He's like, oh yeah, homie, oh yeah, definitely. And what else do I know about him that he's told me? When he introduced himself to me, 17 again, for some reason I heard son. So I know that he's hoping to connect with his mother. Other loved ones, maybe, sure. It's funny. I think about a couple of mine that have passed away. He's like, I think I've met them. And then there was somebody, I can't remember who, just a little bit before I started this, that came to mind. He's like, I don't know if I met him. I said, that's not how you've been talking. 24. Anywho, so I'm just indicating something. But no, he's like, no, I'm 18, almost 19. And I like it. And I like it. Yeah, I really like it. Do you? But 22. What else? There is an original song that I have that I thought I might do. But I was a little unsure. I don't know if I've ever done it on here before. I think I thought of it recently, and he was like, do it. But then he sensed why I was a little unsure, and he says, are you going to get into a studio with it? And in fact, yeah, I have. But it was just on like a little, like it had some covers on it too. I never really tried to sell it. I think it was just to have the experience of being in the studio, which I'm not big about, to be honest. I don't really like to have to wear headphones. It's just, I mean, even though the producer is handling that side, and if Bert's watching this, that would be wild, coincidental. 24, but it's yeah. Who says? But you don't just have talent in this. He says, hope people realize this is not you bragging. This is me saying, I've heard you sing a little bit this morning. He actually told me earlier, last night, I think it was, or maybe it was this morning. He told me earlier that, and I wasn't in the mode for podcasting at that time, but I tell you, if he hadn't left me alone, I possibly would have said, I need to get up and go podcast. But thankfully he did. He's like, yeah, I want to respect you, bro. But he's saying that, but like, yeah. So, I mean, he's like, you are musical like me, 19. And he's like, why not put that out there? He's also said something earlier that I don't know if I put in the other podcast, but a lot of you may not have seen that, which was, this is the internet. There's a little bit of a lot of stuff, a little bit of everything on the. Don't I have a book over here? I know it was on the couch recently, and it's called The Theory of Everything or something like that. 19. And I don't disagree. So he's like, be you, and I'm gonna be me. And I just heard Ray's cute laugh. He's like, yeah, she's a really cool person. Um, and one thing that he interestingly did when I was envisioning this, and I don't. Sometimes I have a rough idea, but I don't usually, envision so much, off the hop or whatever. But hop the off, he says. But this cushion that the laptop's actually on right now has had a few things on it, but I've managed to kind of push them away, push them so I could sit on it. I don't need to right now because it's just me home. The dog was earlier, and that brought about something interesting when I was briefly away from the screen. And basically, he came, and I one thing, whether we want to say it's because of the product or not, just one. But one thing we want to say, or that I could say, is that his visual has stayed pretty consistent. Have I noticed that with other angels that have channeled that haven't been my own loved one? Possibly, I can't say for sure. Right, too, because and sorry, I am still a bit groggy. Things have been a bit hectic. It's early morning here, but I think it's because I didn't know him, and he wanted me to get a clear. So the flash visual, and possibly also the Gimme, was kind of extended, And one thing, 32. One thing, 32 and Eyes of Blue. I don't know. One thing that, or was that just to kind of say yes, like I verified, I was crying, but basically, I wanted to say it's not that like they look weird or anything, but his eyes are very like, I wanted to say that when he looks at you, like people look at people, and we know what that's like. It's like, and they say the eyes are the windows of the soul or whatever, but it's like when he looks at you, it's just like captivating in a way, But anyway, he did, and he had said that he had been watching me for a couple of weeks, and I said, well, you don't seem shy. Why didn't you say something then? And I can't remember 27 what he said. Something about something about um, um, that he's visiting now. Why am I asking him? What does it matter? Or something like that. And he said something else kind of around that line. So, I mean, if you have any questions, whether you think you know him or not, feel free to ask them in the chat, because it was pretty cool what he said, but I can't remember it at the moment. This is where it would have been great to maybe be rolling while it was happening, as I am now, but different things. But he had sat on the couch, and in his angel form, but I see him, and he's kind of like, he's very kind of 37, kind of like I see a hoodie, and I think jeans or sweatpants, and in a comfortable sort of manner. But anyway, and he sat on the couch, and I was like, I can't remember, because it was experienced earlier. I didn't know what to make of that. But he is definitely 28, watching the podcast as well. It kind of like, wanting to let his wanting to. He says, I want to, can I? Sure. He says, whether my mother or my loved ones are watching this, he says, and you may or may not believe me when I say this, but, and he's saying this about himself. What he had said earlier was he came out, essentially. And um, and then something came up a little later, and I said, I thought you were gay. He's like, no, I'm bi. But don't they kind of say it all like in a lump or whatever? And they do. And I, as someone, I don't really agree with that. That it is similar, but it's its own thing. It's got its own letter, you know. And I hope that, he's like, oh yeah, I love myself. He says, he says, I just didn't feel I needed to be specific. Um, and I suppose he doesn't, but he did make a funny comment, and I think he's going to be with me a little bit after the podcast too. Just um, like the dog was sitting over here before we started rolling, and I wanted to take a picture because he was like sitting in front of the computer, and I misplaced my cell phone. I had it at like 10 o'clock last night. I name dropper. What a odd YouTube name. Bring that dog back. We'll see. He's laying calmly right now. I don't want to kind of get him kind of excitable. Um, so how long have you been a name dropper for, and why is your name that? Well, we're dropping the name Colton like it's hot, yo, because it is. I like the name actually. Anywho, and what else? Um, yeah. So basically, and money's tight, and I'm home a lot for the most part, or I'm with somebody that has a cell phone. So, like, I use my cell phone for the internet and a few of the other things in it, but I couldn't call it. And I know that there is something that I could have used, and I couldn't figure it out. And I have I have another Samsung, reasons I still haven't, and it's annoying because I know that like it wasn't like far away. Um, it wasn't far away. Uh, I don't know where that other cushion is, but anyway. Um, and and I almost couldn't go to bed because we're also attached to our devices, but also it's kind of like, you know, I just didn't want to. I wanted to kind of know that I'd found it. I've been through a lot of stuff, and so hopefully I will. I hope he'll help me, maybe. Uh, but what else? Um, um, there's 35 of you here, and only one of you said something. So I know it's been a lot to keep up with, and it's been a lot in 18 minutes. And why are you typing in caps, name dropper? I'm curious. And what are you feeling about this content? 46. And I mean, that's another example, like with the case of water, where I think, that Colton is having something. I mean, because there's a lot on YouTube. And I mean, there's different things that could contribute to it. But I think he's bringing in some of his loved ones. I do sense that because, the numbers are quite high while live. Um, and I would imagine fairly accurate. Um, Maybe I should say a little bit about this Samoa, which is interesting because I saw an interesting kind of theater thing YouTube had showed me, and it actually was like a comedy thing, but it was at a funeral. But I mean, we don't have to just be crying at funerals, right? I suppose. I mean, it's understandable that we are, but and I think they were Samoan or whatever. Um, Initially, I thought that it was someone in a coma, which I have occasionally, a couple times, uh, not like in the same room as, but and but I think it is also similar to their name. And when I was thinking about when I would podcast this, I felt like somebody might. And I don't want to. There's 39 of you here. I almost don't want to say this out. I just want to kind of let it happen, and then I'll say yes, that's what it was. But I do sense that she's a bit quieter and quieter. I mean, it's not that Colton isn't gentle in his, but he's a bit more hyper and stuff, right? Um, and so therefore she's also kind of like I said, I don't think she's going to get an opportunity, between me and Colton and our viewers. I mean, but so most of you are being quite quiet. But again, I know it's been a lot to keep up with. I do have to take a quick rest, and then or not really a rest. I have to quickly do something, and it's one of those examples where, the angel and soul that is being channeled would love to just kind of keep things going while I'm away. And even though you may believe, and I mean, there's definitely been a lot of retention in this, I need to, well, I don't know if I should just try and keep the momentum going, or if I should slow down and let people comment. Are there people, maybe just give a, well, I would think me and Colton would hope that there's something that you've liked within this anyway, but maybe give a like or say yes if you're wanting to comment and you're just feeling like you're not able to focus on doing so. You can send as much as you, I mean, there can only be a certain number of characters anyway, I think, right? But you can send as much as you little at a time, and if some people are saying, well, I wouldn't want to distract him. Yeah, I wouldn't want you to either, but I have ADHD. So, I mean, okay, so just a moment here. I'm going to keep that on because I keep it cool. Keep it cool, yo. Okay, so I'm just kind of relocating for a moment here. And not sure whether I should tell the dog to stay down here or join me, because either would be fine. 21. Yeah, before July, I'll get that. 15. Okay. So, and y'all here, but you're not stating 21 whether there's something you'd like to focus so that you can say. So I'm not sure. Like, no, I can multi-focus. I'm working on a comment. But again, I think each comment can only be a certain number of characters. So, like, love and kindness, but like, try not to say, okay, I need to try and make it shorter now. Just send it through and then work on the next one. It's all good. And I'm sure Colton would like to as well to know. And if there's a Samoa, or maybe it's Simona, that is watching this 16 and wants to kind of, introduce herself as well, then that's cool. I'm going to say 25. To the 14 of you that are here, know that I will be back in about Oh, okay, the charger. Okay, that's fine. In about 15 minutes, maybe less, probably less. I appreciate you being here, and I really am curious. Like saying love and kindness, because that's what we all want. But I really am curious. I think those were wow emojis. Ha-has, I think. So I'm curious why. You know what being curious is like, right? So quench my curiosity. And if you're just like, I think that what might be happening now is there was a troll that was maybe here the other day that was doing that, and basically, and wouldn't say why. And I mean, and it was interesting because I know that there's been funny moments in this, but and there's funny moments in most of my podcasts, because there just is. I have a sense of humor, and if I'm channeling someone with a sense, I don't know, there just is. But I sort of remembered that, and it has stopped. But I sort of remembered that I didn't think that there was nothing like super super heavy and serious either, and like they would just, and like it wasn't just one or two oops. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's it seemed like they were just doing it, and and that is silly. It's a waste of their time, and doesn't really make much sense, I feel. So we got 10 of you here. I still haven't went and done went and quickly done the thing that I felt I needed to do, and I can't pause this. And I want to keep it rolling because I've got it all set up. We've got 4 of you here, and so good morning, and I know who one of you is. How are you doing, Sheila? What's interesting? Now we got 5. There was a part of me that felt like you might be. I don't know why. If it's just because I've heard from you a few times in here, and I know that you're a believer or what. But well, I guess you could say more than a few. But there is a part of me that wonders if you're connected to this Colton or the Samoa, maybe. But 7. But and again, whether you are or not, there's something to take from his soul and his personality that he's sharing, and whether it's like his sense of humor or his opinions. Like we can say that angels feel a little less. Well, can you tell? I'm witty and giddy, not quite gay. Anyway, but no, but now I've kind of forgotten what I was saying. And you're not saying you knew the Colton, so maybe you didn't. I mean, I do feel like he's trying to reach his mother, but not only, or his father. I heard son, so honestly, it could be to either of his parents. But and I'm hoping that at least some of you have been here since the beginning, so you know some of the things I've kind of mentioned about him. And he's kind of saying, so what are we doing next? We're noticing that it went from 7 to 8. We're wondering where the lights are. We're wondering if the person that was asking about the dog is still here. And we're here to enjoy each other's company and heal and sit and stay. Sorry, that was my sense of humor. 12 and see the other one because it went from I think 8 or 10 to 12. But I'm not going to go 10 to 12, and it's just about 9:30. Know that, again, I'm free spirited. I don't have much of a filter, and Colton doesn't. So, I mean, like I say, this is quite a time we're having. So, if you have any questions or thoughts, in kindness and curiosity, I welcome you to put them in the chat, as I mentioned earlier. And I think I do need to briefly go into the other room. But I'm glad that this seems to be resonating. I mean, like I say, no likes, but I don't know. Maybe that's just something that's being wonky right now. Why are you mentioning that? Actually, 8. It's been very a lot of movement, like and good numbers. He's like, you know what, bro? You deserve it. You deserve fans. You deserve people in your corner. I've got good peeps, and I want you to have good peeps. So there's now 9 of you good peeps. Woo woo. Sorry. But yeah, so what's good, yo? Like I say, our personalities are kind of similar, but he's yeah. I'm what? Lovely and delightful. We'll go with that. Cool. So and I'm thinking that there's probably some of the 6 of you, I would say maybe half and half. I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm kind of getting that sense from him that he's thinking that too for some reason, that there's about 3 of you that might actually have known him. Now it says 8, and then 3 of you who don't but might want to, and you're getting to, and then the other 2 that just tuned in are like, what's going on here? And I'm like, I'm learning as it unfolds as well. But just to kind of update, what's going on is that the soul of a really cool guy that passed away quite young. And it's interesting too, because like when I think of my friend Ray, who passed away quite young, she has shared with me that her into her 20s was her best years. So that's kind of where she's at, and on the other side. So she's actually younger than she passed away. And I can't believe that I didn't process that before. And now it's a what? I mean, some of you are into this kind of stuff, so I don't know. But maybe that's not accurate. That anywho. So who is it? Is it still you, Sheila, or who is it? Okay, I did that. So we got 4 of you here. I'm curious if one of you was already here. If any of you have already been here and came back, or have been on my content before. And yeah, I'm just curious to hear from you. If not, I hate to step away from the screen for a few moments, but I kind of feel the need to. But I'm kind of just rolling with it as well, for the most part. Is this the water I brought up? I don't. There was one already up. Okay, this one here. And I can't tell which one's colder. Let's toss it back a little, he says. And it's not. I think this one might be a bit colder. This is very interesting. Colton is saying, I know some of you have questions, about something you're going through in this life. And I know this may sound like me to people that are familiar, but like I say, we're similar. Or I'm here cutting up some fruit. Okay, cool. And I'm here channeling some fruit. Just kidding. He says, I'll take it. I'll take it. It ain't a lie, man. But he says, whether it's about this life or because you feel you were connected to him or the other side, he says, I'm here to answer some questions. He says, I don't know about you, but I'm here to answer some questions. So we got 7 people here. And what are your questions in that regard? I think there was 4 of you here before. 4 of you here before. So 3 of you may or may not know what's transpiring. Religion can coexist with it. And if the name Colton, Coltyn, means anything to you, then you're in the right place. Now, why did I think I was hearing music? I'm upstairs. 9. He's like, oh, so I was just looking through my playlist. Thought you were here to answer his questions. He's like, well, have we gotten any yet? Not yet. And he comes over and he's like, he kind of pushes me aside and says, what are you guys waiting for? He is probably, I've been doing this since I was 25. I'm late 30s now. It's mostly been my loved ones. He is probably one of the more energetic ones that I've ever channeled. Sometimes they come in, they say something deep, they make me know, they let me know that they're around, or it's a sign and a symbol, but and I'm not gonna, no, it's not the first time, but possibly the first time from a stranger. I mean, in one of my other recent videos, and I know it's that topic, but hopefully, what was said will be helpful for you. Whether it's something you've been through personally or connected to someone that you know, but SUICIDE came up. And one of our viewers may be aware of this or not. Now we're down to 5, but it's fine. That it is that message come that somebody who passed that way had a really, and like I said, there were moments last night that were hard before I met Colton, but there were also moments that were great. And I don't know how often I'm going to hear from Colton. I hope often, but he's here now. He's been here. And he's like, I ain't going nowheres. Ain't going nowheres. I may have passed away, but I'm still watching my loved ones. And I'm happy when they're happy, and I'm sad when they're sad. Like any of us are up here. And I like to meet new people. And I'm happy that I'm meeting you, he says. And hopefully some of these viewers. He says, but if you're quiet, we ain't getting to know each other very well, But at the same time, I don't want to be, forcing you. Now we're down to 5. But it's really been fluctuating. And he tried to make up a word that sounds like that. And I'm going to tell him, behave. So I'm going to slow down. It actually, window's not open that much, but it actually is kind of chilly up here. So I want to maybe put, And I need about, and I'm going to put this in the comments. This is the 39 mark. Okay, so I'm glad that the 4 of you are here, seeming here because you want to be here, because you feel like you're meant to be here and you need to be here. And yes, me and Colton will encourage you to try and think of something you might want to put in the comment, a curious question, or, how this is resonating for you. And I'll be back. I hate to leave the screen, and we have 8 people here, and I'll bring your attention to, and if it shows that certain way, it was somewhat unintentional. I don't necessarily know if I know how to do it, but it just, in the moment, I mean, I appreciate the comment, but in the moment, it just felt, so, but I'm at least reading them, and I will reply. Okay, I'm that kind of podcaster. So I'll be right back. I'm a little bit of a loss. Supposed to, but it might rain, and he's like, "Men, woman, oh, woo, party." That's not the first time he's mentioned party. I know that the laptop charger sometimes drops pretty quick. We got 6 people here, and I don't know if I should go get it. But when I go downstairs, I wonder if I should. Again, and I will say, retention and people sticking around at the top watching, it matters to me, and I appreciate it. And it is motivating. It is. But I'm about the interactions, largely as well. And even though, any of you, whoever is seeing this or anything that I post, where, I have, I welcome in a certain type of company and am comfortable doing so, that does not mean that you're not important or that I don't want to hear from you. You've got an important voice to be heard as well, even if it is just, in written. Online, in person, in spirit, they're all important. Now, I still haven't done a couple of the things I wanted to do, so I'm still going to go away for about 15 minutes. It's still within that 15 minutes I first said, and it's not going to be more than that, I'm pretty sure. Huh. Who's up? Interesting. I have to share that. I have to come back and share that. I've never gone so long, even when I think it might be shared up. But I have to come back and share this. It's important. I don't see any shirt, but it's not really. It's not really. Sure, maybe I don't see people with such a shirt very often, but so I looked out our window. And I saw a guy. He had kind of denim capris on, and it was a real person. Like, I was out recently, and it was ironic, the thing that I was out at, and I was crossing the street, and I saw a girl up in her 20s or 30s who looked a lot like my friend Ray that passed away. And so it was so ironic. And I thought she had glasses and Ray didn't. But she even kind of had, like, she carried herself in that kind of way. And she actually, I think she took a picture of herself too. And actually that Like I found out that she passed away the day after I had done a photo shoot at a fashion show, and it was actually the first one that I'd ever done. And I've been wanting to get more opportunities, and actually, so much spiritually, I kind of have been getting some. And so this is so ironic. Like it was a person actually walking past, but I almost get the sense that it was this quote. It was like this quote guy saying, "Yeah, picture this guy when you're thinking of me." That's he had denim capris on. I don't know. I think his shirt said something on it, but I'm not sure. He had short, kind of thin hair. I don't know if I'd seen Colton's hairstyle, if I'd processed that. He wasn't wearing a hat. I know that much. He's like, yeah, why would I do that? Just kidding. He's like, no offense. I got the thoughts out. You don't think I am? Just kidding. And he was kind of like moving his hands in a certain way, and he even looked back for a moment. But he looked like Colton, were you connected to that guy? Were you related to him or something? And he thought that he sensed you? My mind is putting something up there, it feels like, or I don't know why he wouldn't say. I don't feel like he's not saying. But for some reason, I'm not getting an answer. I just wanted you to make sure that you knew what I look like. And some people might say, well, why does that matter? It's what's inside that counts. And I agree. But I think it's good to appreciate beauty in general, including of people. I mean, if anybody was to get offended if somebody said that they were beautiful or that they were pretty, regardless of what gender said it to what gender, would you rather them say you were ugly? I mean, really, like it's a compliment. Take it, you know. Um, he says, I won't necessarily. He said, I had a brother, a sibling, a brother. And I tried to put you in their path, is what I think he's kind of saying. Like, I sort of hoped that you'd open the window and holler at him. And I tried to, like, I got him to turn around because I tried to get his attention too. And so he's like, and I didn't know who I wanted to be with more. But what I've learned from doing this is that it's kind of like, as some people might say, God does. It's kind of like a bit of their being, you know, their for lack of a different word, like pixie dust or a little, because when we lose someone, we need to feel them around us. And a lot of people will be grieving the same person, sometimes at the same time. So he says, yeah, that's one of the cool things of being an angel, is that, we can kind of spread ourselves to different places. So it's like, don't anybody of you worry. I will visit my brother. I will visit my brother. Like, I didn't open the window and holler at him. And I don't know if I would have. But he looked behind. He says, yeah, he's aware of my presence. That's for sure. But he says, he was so young, dude. Like, I passed away young. My brother was so young to lose me. And he says, and that really upsets me. But he says, I want my loved ones to know that I'm in a better place and that I'm happy and I'm very alive, as you can see. And Man, I miss all the good times I used to have with my loved ones, he says. I'm still having them with them, still having the good times with them from where I'm at. And he says, I don't want any of them or anybody that I even didn't know to feel the rush, but not the rush to get up to heaven. And he kind of went like this and said, that includes you. He says, what you thinking? He says, I just rambled for a bit. Why don't you tell the viewers what you're thinking? And why don't they tell you what they're thinking? And I can only answer the first one of those questions. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm thinking other than amazing, cool, thank you, wow, you know. And that I can see why people, what I can't understand is why, like, that was the thing I alluded to quite a while ago in this was I couldn't figure out if his passing was like an intentional overdose or if it was accidental. And he had said, what does it matter? I still passed away. Like, why would my loved ones or you care to know that? He says, I still passed away, but I'm also still very alive in the way that I'm here. Did we say it yet? That yeah, I said that one part. I'm still hearing music, and I don't know why, because the radio was not that loud downstairs. There are no open windows. And with disability, like, I'm not psychic. I mean, not all mediums are. But I am definitely, I think they call it clairsentient. Like, I have the flash visuals. I said it in an interview with someone, actually, that I know, do I hear it? If I knew the person and I knew what they sounded like, yeah. Otherwise, it's me saying it, relaying it out loud. But like, that's what kind of makes it hard sometimes. It's like, it's not like it's strongly loud. And I don't know if I've ever so clearly heard music when I've channeled, unless there's some playing, and I'm upstairs and there's none playing. And I think that reminds me, I just want to quickly do this. And the other thing I thought I might have to go off screen for, I'm not too sure whether I do yet. But I mentioned earlier that Sheena was a rocker and Colton was a rapper. And I feel like he says, if any of you feel like you know me, I don't know if you can put a link in YouTube comments or not, but maybe you can tell me how to find a video of his, because I'd be very curious to see him doing his passion and to see him in that form. And he's, I think, also been trying to encourage me to do some music in this at different points, or before I started rolling even too. And I think I did sing a couple little snippets. Are jingles still a thing these days? I think so, yeah. That was a silly question. Don't mind me. I've got to try and follow that music for just a moment. And maybe one other quick thing. So we got 2 people here. Feel free to comment, kindness, curiosity, thoughts about what's being said, and I'll be back. And I might get the charger too. Because I don't know, I'm kind of enjoying doing this up here. But then I'm going to be downstairs later, so Where would I rather be? I don't know. I don't know. Which environment do you like best? If the two people that are here, 9 now, have ever seen my content before, I mean, I often find it kind of stuffy up here and slightly crowded. So some people may say, do it where you're comfortable. And it is and isn't like I find it that way downstairs. So I don't know. Comfortable in both places for different reasons. What you're like, I wasn't even paying attention to your environment. I'm just captivated by what you're saying. But seriously, which one do you prefer? Colton, don't say it. Well, then I'm just going to go back in the. No. Let be yourself and be proud. It's like, all right, you have to tell me twice. He reminds me a little bit of a guy that I follow on YouTube a little bit, but I know what his first name is, and it's not Colton. So unless Colton is his middle name, and a lot of people just knew him by that, I think it's just a similar personality. And and I don't know what I think of the guy's content, to be honest. And you're probably like, funny, I've been thinking the same thing numerous times while I've been watching this. But obviously, you like something about it, so I appreciate that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as comment. And hopefully the feature isn't being wonky, because so far I'm not seeing no likes coming, but like you're all here. You're here right now. There. Just kidding. That's just a joke I have. I don't think it's that. So I'm just gonna go let myself get a quick puff of fresh air, kind of just cold, replenish in a couple, and I don't know what to think about the fact nobody's telling me I prefer down. No, I at the end of the day, though, I think I do have to decide. And today I'm feeling more like up here is the answer. And it's interesting because I thought that last night too, after the stuff that kind of transpired last night. It turned out okay, but I mean, I still haven't found my phone that I know I have in that room, or at least in the house. I don't mind that it's a little tidier looking, mostly. I do remember something that the other person in the house said, and it was the first time ever, and maybe kind of thought that other lady that we talked to on the phone was suggesting it, or just it felt in the moment. I know I need to look past that because he knows that it wouldn't have been the best thing, and it was said out of a moment of stress. So 6 of you are here. As I mentioned, I do feel the need to step away for about 10, 15 minutes at most. I don't really want to stop rolling because I have done some setup. There's a few of you here. And I kind of, don't want to do that. I do feel like it's important, though. Like the 5 of you that are here know that I've said that. Anybody else, I feel like it's nice to let them know. So we're at the 59:50 mark. Perhaps imagine Colton, or that's weird. It was counting the characters, and I thought it was like the number was going down, and then it went up. But it still looks like it will. It still is the color of like it could still send them through, or but it doesn't look all that long when I send it through. Okay, so there's that. Whether you heard me say it or not, if you want to see it, there it is, and I'll be right back. And when am I getting the charger? Real quickly come back and say. So I will say that the did you take your own advice? I will say that. What was I going to say? The sun's coming out quite a bit. Sorry, I mean it's just been. Oh, right, that and now it's up to 10. I still haven't replenished my water, so do that. I'm going to hold on to it to remember to do it when I go down to get the charger. Which this thing does drop kind of fast, but what are we at? 43. Okay. Some of you will have noticed in some of my videos I play kind of relaxation music, which is tracks that one of us in the home creates, actually. I've never tried it on this one, but I know that it can be wonky and Dreams and Shadows. 9. Colton Sall is saying, how about we write a song together, bro? I think that's the kind of thing you would like to do more, yeah, from what I sense. Maybe, yeah. I know that I'm a little hesitant because I need to kind of do some work on my guitar to get it in play mode again. So I think you have a pretty big piano down there. Rap piano? What also transpires this is that in the drop down, somebody that I subscribe to who sounds like Leonard Cohen in almost every song he covers, and he does quite a variety. Looks like he's like writing a song, ? And it's a picture of his dog who looks a bit like me. I don't know if his dog passed away recently or what. And I have done that occasionally. Passed away? No, just kidding. I have occasionally written song with kind of spirits there, but not very often. And unfortunately, I haven't kept very good track of them. But yeah, that relaxation music, I mean, like, he's just got so much energy. I have a question for Linda, first of all. Not that she's, well, she might be here in some way or another. I'm not sure what to make of this. I noticed that something was on the screen that that makes me think of one of the videos I did the other day. I don't know if I should verbalize this or not. I don't know what to say, and I don't want to say what. I want Linda to tell me your version of it. Because you saw a copy and you didn't know who it was by. So you thought, but it inspires me and I like it and I want to create a version of it myself. And that's what you have. Okay, I can go with that. Cool. All right, sorry about that distraction. Um, but yeah, I can't play it over the device I can't find. I wouldn't play it in the same one I'm recording with. Um, it doesn't look like it's this device probably wouldn't be the best one to do it on. Um, so, it kind of works in the background for this kind of stuff, but I think it's more likely to be create the music. Create the music. And, well, I think I'm going to go downstairs anyway then, because the piano is down there and I'm not bringing it up here. That's what it's seeming like to me. And yeah, singing, yeah. Here we go. Okay, sorry about that. So we got 5 people here. Don't be shy. 6. And Sheila, are you still one of them? I think you would say if you were, maybe you did briefly go, and now you're back. I don't know. Okay, so I'm ready to go downstairs then? I guess so. 7. Earth and heaven. I really hope that this kind of comes out as like a complete song, so I don't have to like put it together. If I was to, do something with this, more than this. Keep that open. I appreciate your patience as I slowly make my way to where I'm heading. This there. This will have to go there because there's stuff there, not because of last night. Well, kind of. Okay, so I just have to plug this in for a little bit while we work on the song. And that might be how I do it as we get 8 people. Welcome. Is you're like, fuck, now I'm hearing the music too. There is a light music down here. Are you hearing it? I'm curious. You're like, no, but I'm hearing voices. That is also correct. No, just kidding. Okay, so I'm just going to top up my water. I don't know which of these I'm going to wear, so. Warming up, or am I just heating you up? And yes, we recycle these. I know some people might be thinking, oh, wow, that's a plastic bottle. You know, some people might also be wondering, you know, if they thought, oh, I might be able to give this guy a job, but would he be able to focus? It's an ability. Nope, at least you don't what? Oh, music. Super sound from 70s. And that sounds kind of familiar. Did I comment on your comment on something? Sorry about the lighting. I'll move it in a moment. Like my angels, they kind of understand, when I have ADHD as it is, but I can hyper focus or get really engaged in something such as, podcasting. And they want to let me to be able to do what I'm trying to do for the most part. Also, I don't know, so far anyway, out and about, which isn't very much. It's not something, and because of the ADHD, a focused environment really is the best option, I think, mostly. But who knows? Like, if I make it to that thing on Saturday, well, he says, forget about that thing on Saturday for now. You're doing this thing today. We're doing it. So, Samoa, so ironic that came up, and I didn't even fully process the connection. I know that when I hear that name, that other name, I think of this song. I thought of it before. Maybe another's gonna come in soon. And it's interesting because I talk about tattoos and you know, um, like writing on self came up in one of the other videos recently, the one with the past, present, future image, I believe, and other deep topics. And there's a line in that song that says, "Your journey's been etched in on your skin, Simona. I wish I'd have told you. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. I would call you up every Saturday night." And is that the same song? I'm not sure. I'm just looking. I kind of want to maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. Okay. So yes, did I comment on something because your username sounds familiar to me? Maybe a music playlist, ironically. Which means that it's good. I'm allowing myself to kind of comment on more things, which potentially helps this channel out too, right? So at first I didn't know what you were referring to because it wasn't vague, but thanks for the like. But you're referring to the radio. I just hope that you do the radio. So, is Colton's mother here? Because I'm getting a couple things telling me that maybe she is now. So I'm going to kind of just work on some song lyrics, and then we'll bring it to the piano and see what we do with it there. Nah, I think you remember the quote. What quote? Did I quote something? Okay, maybe you don't then. It's like, no, I mean, I've never actually seen that movie. I've only heard of it. You don't have a channel. You don't have content on your channel, is what you're trying to say. Because, you're here. Okay. Well, then it's just something that sounds like it, I guess. Okay. What are we calling this song? Huh? I'm sorry, I don't follow. Yes, what? I'm sorry. Yeah. It is. It is probably making sense. You think that I think so. Glad to be here, though. Okay, cool, and I'm glad you're here. I'm confused by know your name. Is that telling me put Colton's name in the title? Because I thought of doing that. Yes, Smiley, what? I think we don't know each other, but I'm glad to be here. You think we don't, but maybe we do. Maybe we've met. Whereabouts are you watching from? I think so. Glad. Sorry. And you think so? What? Sorry, I'm just trying to follow here. Yes, is that? I do have a channel, but no. Okay. Okay. Um, but I'm still gonna put Colton's name in it. That way, I'll be able to tell it from the rest. Um, the best at rest. Yes. And yes, Ode, OUD. And maybe you're thinking if you do this stuff, you should know what that means. I'm thinking I should. It also, I think, is an instrument. Communication is going, not amazing. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Our communication. Okay, okay, okay. Um, that's fine. That's fine. Communication's one of those things, right? Like, I mean, no matter the format, you know, and even the people, sometimes, you'll need clarification. And if I was like, soon as I'd said a certain something, if I'd heard you say out loud, um, then I would be like, I would more likely know what it was referring to. So that's why I'm asking, because I'm seeing your comments. I'm from Holland, and your name is not Aston, is it? And you're like, well, you shouldn't be surprised if it is. And I do appreciate the anonymity on my end of things for the most part too, by the way. Um, what are you finding particularly fine out of curiosity? And I was thinking about somebody, actually, they're from Holland, but they live in Hungary now. Um, and you've said 2 or 3 times that you're glad to be here. So I'm glad that you're glad to be here, or at least twice, and that you're having fun. And Tim, okay, well, nice to meet you, Tim. Um, it's very interesting because I feel like I said something that made me think of Jackie earlier. Anyway, so we got 4 people here. You can join me and Tim in the conversation. I think Sheila may have left, but I'm not sure. If so, I think maybe her phone just died, because she wouldn't just abruptly do that. It's Tim and it's time. The best, and do you feel like you might know this, Colton or Simona? I've kind of got a title, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I might have to. He is saying something, and Ray's probably said something similar to it too. He's saying, even though I passed away at a young age, like, I'm showing you how happy I am, how free I am, you know, and that I'm okay. And I'm sorry that my loved ones, had to go through my passing. But yeah, I'm good, man. So we have 4 here. Okay, we need to, I think, look past the title right now, because it's maybe after I do the song, somebody can suggest the title. So now we need lyrics. And I'm going to go with what, somewhat what inspired it, I think, because that kind of feels like it makes sense. So, okay. Do you want to help me with some of the lyrics? I mean, I totally don't mind if it's just me and Colton, but if you'd like to, I can let you, and you'll feel like you're included in part of it. And then, if this ever becomes famous, let's just give each other credit, okay, and send each other some of the royalties, right? Um, yeah, we've got 5 people watching. We're writing a poem. We're writing a song that is likely going to be done on the piano, and it's going to have rap elements, which is not my strongest area, but I'm going to try it. Sup, dog, you. Sup, dog, you. Sup, dog, you. Sup. The guy that posted it that inspired was named Frank. To be frank, and I know he keeps saying, put that word in, put that word in. This is rap after all. I'm not going to. Um, uh, but he did say, and I said it to the person that I lived with, that you know, I sensed that today was going to be fun, and that there may even be some profit in it. So, you're allowed to monetize on YouTube, so I guess we'll see. Um, and there was a couple other little things said around it, and he's like, "You'll make some donuts." That's hopefully not the kind to make pizza with. Like, we have lots of that. We got a smallest. We forgot pizza, but yeah. What we could do, if nothing's coming to mind for the lyrics, is I could give you some letters. I know the words I'm associating with the letters. You may or may not, and then so let me just work through the alphabet here. F-G-E. I think that's a slang word. I don't remember what it means. J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R. I know that there might be a couple words I'm skipping, but I feel like I'm meant to, so. And you may get why I was laughing. But what we got is BHR. Which one you want? I'm almost tempted to take the H out and say B or R. B or R? Which is ironic because that reminds me of a moment that came up earlier in this where I had a memory of a time I was at a bar, which is not very often. Sup, dog, yo. Sup, dog, yo. Sup, dog, yo. That feels like too many, but sup. To be frank, it will take it to the bank. We have 7 people watching here. I lived a great life, and I want to thank the people who were in it and for being in theirs. Okay, I'm just gonna make this big for a moment. Or do I want to make it huge? Just kidding. Oh, we'll make it huge. The people who were in it and for being in theirs. Raise your special drink, wine, soda, or beer. Okay, sure. I'm happy to have met my dude on his show. We are all strangers to each other till we know. Okay, so that's what I got so far. Got 7 of you here. Let your creative spark shine. I may not get a certain job as an art therapist or this and that, but I can encourage your creativity and we can create something lovely together. Now, one thing I will say too is, I don't know. I'll see. I'll see. Because I'm sure doing this, people are going to want to say, "I wrote this song with this guy on YouTube. I'd like to show it to you." And that brings it down. Look at all this. Um, and but so I might do it in its own video. possibly sometime today. I have just got to take a moment to thank our viewers, to thank those that are commenting, and to thank Colton. YouTube has been giving me a sense of purpose that I've needed, and creativity, and healing, and showing my ability, which is sometimes just what it is and not necessarily from a creative spot, as we get 4 people. And I probably would have podcasted at some point today, but he's giving this to me to do. He's like, we're going to do those other 2 things later too, possibly today. So like, ready yourself, he says. Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready? Just kidding. No, but and that kind of came up before I did the podcast too, where it's kind of like if people thought that sounded a certain way, whether it did or whether it didn't, he was kind of saying earlier, as long as I'm happy, we're happy, even if we're in different types of angel person. I was once a person, he says, and I'm for it. Let's do this thing, yo. And he's mentioning something else. I'm going to do it how I envision myself doing it, but it's coming up slightly in its own different way. 3, 1. He's like, and it says upstairs. He's like, okay, I'm heading up there then. He says he's thanking me and hoping that it might inspire others to be themselves and to allow themselves to not stay stuck in life. And if I'm thinking about something that I've been looking into lately and that I mentioned in one of my recent videos, there is a part of that has come from feeling stuck and unhappy at times in life, in the past few years. And he says, doesn't it feel good to find healthy ways to release those things? He says, people get so stressed out. He's like, I know, because I was one. But he says, like, I wish they'd just learn to relax a little, some of them. And be a free spirit. As long as you're not hurting anyone. He says, because it's very powerful. And he says, and I have met JP, and we have connected over how we passed away similarly. And I think earlier when I was remembering this, I saw him in and I can't remember exactly how it came up, but I said, he's kind of dressed. He's comfortable and he's happy. Love them for it. Why it went small, I don't know yourself. Myself? No, but that's because you're doing that line. And so ironically, I typed yourself, it typed myself. Be yourself. And not noting about you. There's a lot happening and I'm hungry for context. Would you mind introducing yourself? All good if you don't want to, but I just rolled in here. No, you've been here for about, I guess that's kind of just rolled in here. You've been here for about, 15, 20 minutes or so? It's not because I still feel the but I'm somewhat lost track of time. I know nothing about me. There's a lot happening and I'm hungry for context. I think you'd say if your name was a stone. But it's interesting because, like I say, he lived in Holland, but he's in Hungary now. And I believe they must be geographically close because I can't talk about that. I mean, I could and start a new one and hopefully come back. Um, right, yeah, I kind of figured that out. Um, uh, because the time when I looked up the time yesterday, they were both the same, and so, um, but I'm bad at geography. And hello, Top Touch Football. I don't. Well, yeah, which is interesting because I have a funny kind of sports memory connected to the guy I was referring to too. And Colton's like, "Ooh, football, yeah, woo!" Like he's been hyper a lot, but that's the third time I've kind of felt him be like party mode. Okay. Well, and I appreciate that you're cool either way. I'm Big C. Yo, sup? From Canada. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm working on writing a rap piano, rap fusion type song in the moment here. I'm enjoying your company. Um, and I guess you just tuned in, and that's why you're asking. And I'll ask you a question first, if you don't mind. Do you believe in the afterlife? Um, because I believe that there is a life after this. And oh my gosh, how have I not put that together that that's why it's called the afterlife? You know, we hear these things that are so common to hear that sometimes we're just like, okay, that's what it's called. And if that doesn't prove that there is one, my content would. Right on. You know the name Colton by any chance? Spelled with a Y? We got 8 viewers here. Right on. It's comforting. It's hard because when we know that it's a place that we can go to feel healing peace. I do not believe, I believe, I don't know. Okay. And you know, I'd like to hear that perspective from people such as yourself. You know, um, what is it that like it sounds like you kind of do. And I mean, what is it that makes you a little unsure? Could it be that you don't know if you want to exist somewhere else after you die? Sorry. Okay. Right. Um, because I can tell you this: don't rush it. Don't rush it. But um, it's not like Earth. From what I've learned during this, it's not like Earth, but it can be like heaven and or on Earth. It it's very beautiful from what I've gathered. I don't feel like I've actually went there in any of my well, maybe kind of, but it like after this life. I know a lot of people say I don't want to go back to and this is why I don't believe in reincarnation. Maybe in the sense of like in the process of transitioning to heaven, but not coming back. I mean, I kind of get the point. Oh, you know, people made mistakes or whatever. God forgives them, and they need to now be up there to watch over their loved ones and wait for them. And Colton says, waiting is the hardest part. I wish more of my peeps could do that, what you're doing, because I'd visit them. And, you know, they can. They can, whether it's seeing signs and symbols or little snippets here and there. And I want you all to know that because we're all going to have people pass away in our lives. Heart, heart, heart. Thank you. From which one of you? 11, 8, 11. We're all going to have people pass away in our lives. And although it can be deep stuff to process sometimes, it does make living easier. It does I mean, just like something else I kind of alluded to, it's not a miracle worker. Like, I mean, my own loved ones, they often say they want the best for me, but I mean, and I'm curious, what age ranges we have watching us right now. They want the best for me, but they also struggle to get me there sometimes. But Colton's saying your loved ones had something to do with this, as they do with most of your podcasts. I want to make sure you realize that, dude. And JP is sitting over there. Ray is standing at that chair. I thought you might be young. I don't know why, because you play football. I believe the fact that we are separate, 38, same as me, separate entities is an illusion. Tim, me. I hope yeah. Tim, me, will end when I die, I think. But our energy was always there, and that's the way to look at it. Entities is an illusion. I believe the fact that we are separate entities. And isn't it great? Isn't it interesting? Like the brain looks similar for all of us, but we all have a unique one. And yet we're all so alike and yet so different, right? Touch football. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Doesn't sound like you've ever seen my content before. We have 13 people here at the moment. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. But I have a question for you. I have a question. Colton has a question for you, actually, and then I'll try and get back to the song 9. And out of curiosity, where are you watching from? You like my bedroom? No, but like what country? And I have to briefly go upstairs actually in a moment. Do feel free to suggest more lyrics. You've heard a little bit perhaps of the song that we're working on here, but this is interesting. You just randomly popped up in my feed. I don't know what to do with this other than to leave you with this to have in your mind. Okay. And I know there's a lot. Okay. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to. Randomness can be great sometimes, right? You may not know this Colton guy, but he knows someone you know, is the vibe I'm getting. And he's saying, yeah, they play sports together. And he's saying, I only hope that this football guy will accept the fact if his buddy is not straight. And that's something I do know about sports, that a lot of athletes are more able to be kind of honest with their teammates. And I think that's pretty cool. But he's actually saying to me, but isn't it a thing, it's like once they accept us, especially if we had a bit of a crush on them, it's like, oh man, we love them more. Oh. But he says, but you know what? We got to let people be who they are. Now, touch football. How come did you intend to remove a couple of your comments? You're taking back all your comments, except for the bottom one, and I'm just curious about that. Can you please tell me why you're doing that? Because I'd like to talk about it with you. Colton saying maybe I shouldn't have said anything. I'm sorry if that was unexpected. it kind of like made you feel a bit awkward or whatever. Like it wasn't our intent. It's an interesting. It's an interesting. But I kind of read them. But I'm not really sure what to think about that. But we got three people here. Super Sam or Tim might still be here. I'm not sure who else, but I appreciate you're here. Now we got 5. I'd be very curious. I don't. I have the time mostly, so I'll keep rolling. I think not because of that, but I think in general, I think I will briefly step away again in a moment. But I'd be very curious to know. It wasn't just with one comment, so it was intentional, I feel like. And I'd be very curious to know why. Tim, are you still here? So we're going to kind of put that out of the mind for right now. I want to get back to writing a rap fusion song for piano. In the moment, on the spot, while doing this, and yeah, and I have. We didn't time that super well, but I'm going to be in a moment. But I mean, part of me feels I can look past it, but part of Colton's like, let's figure this out together. And if football guy or the football person, you know, says anything further, then fine. But let's figure this out together. Perhaps. He says, I have a guess that I think is pretty good. Okay, go for it. He says, I wonder if the individual felt like he didn't know, or they didn't know if, well, but still, I'll do this, if they could stay friends with somebody like that, especially if that person was going to start to feel stronger towards them, because then he'd have to, or they'd have to look at themselves and say, how would I handle that? What would that be telling me? Could I stay their friend? And he says, this may not be saying that he wouldn't accept, that they wouldn't accept the friend. He says, does that make sense? And I think it does, somewhat. And what would my advice be to that? And I think possibly that guys would struggle with it a little bit more. A lot of guys, especially really masculine ones, perhaps athlete ones, because I'm thinking for a moment, like if a girl, if a woman had a woman friend, and they were in that situation, I think, and again, I hate to put gender into this, but I think that they'd be able to roll with it better. He's like, but here's what I don't get. Like, so many guys are so, like, I don't know what word to use, but you know what I'm trying to say, like, with each other. Like we're gonna try not to make this too much more of the topic, but I mean, it's an interesting, from a psychological perspective, right? you know, he says, I don't get why they just aren't honest with, and again, but I think something interesting did come up earlier that I would like to bring back around to things. In today's culture and society, or at least I believe it's still so, um, and I'm thinking of somebody I knew in my life, and then I have to quickly go upstairs. But Colton even did it earlier. He came out as gay, but then from what I've gotten to know about him, he seemed more bisexual. And he says, "Well, yeah, but they call it gay." I said, "Well, they shouldn't, because although it's similar, it's its own thing." And he says, "Yeah, I mean, not to go on about it for too much longer, but you're right." He says, "Thanks for for allowing." I mean, I do. He says, "I do, but thanks for reminding me and others that language that we use can be important. Um, and if someone feels included as they are or not, you know, with others." And so he says, "Thanks for reminding me who I truly am," he said. That was lovely. Um, and that, yeah, if that guy comes back and he says, "Well, it was past the hour and a half mark, and I've decided to come back and watch this, you know, and and perhaps we're here." Yeah, I mean, whether you stay straight or whatever you do, you know what? Love and accept yourself. I mean, seriously, that's what I'm here to do, is to accept you for who you are as best as I can, any of you, and ask for the same, um, and know that you'll be okay. And yeah, I don't know if there probably is more I could say to that, but I don't know if I really need to. But we've got 5 of you that heard all of it. I would hope the football individual has. Yeah, and he removed his comments. It's interesting that you're asking. Basically, because Colton said that he felt like he knew one of the friends, and said, "What would you do if, or how? What would you think if they were?" And then also said a little something else. And I mean, it's not that it's untrue. Uh, we have to coexist amongst each other, and just love and kindness. You know. Um, and it seemed to have struck something with him, or with this individual. And I don't think we need to try and guess why else. It could be interesting from, like I say, curiosity. But yeah, I guess you were briefly away when that. Yeah, but Colton just asked me an interesting question. He says, "Do you pray, dude?" Uh, I'd like to say yes, kind of in my own way. He says, "This is Pride Month." And he says, "I was talking about a friend of mine." You're welcome. And he says, "Whether you believe in this prayer or not, can I get us, whether we want to call it a prayer or not, I want to respect differences, as do you," he says. but can we maybe take a moment in our own little way, and whether you and I choose to share how I say it or not, can we all take a moment, because there's been six of you here, who's four now, but whatever, who seem to, no, you're here. And he says, my buddy is going through such a hard time. He says, so I wouldn't be surprised if it struck something in that person, mind, because he already kind of feels like this friend of his is being distant, perhaps, because he is. And he says, and he's just maybe not sure what it would look like to be friends with him still. But I think we all know he could be. And it would look pretty much like it already does. I mean, yeah. So I'm going to briefly go upstairs for like 2 minutes, see what else comes into the mind. And then we've got a verse, either an intro and a verse, or a verse. And when I do a song, right, I'm pretty good at it. And like I say, you guys can help. 6 views. And we got I think the rest will unfold pretty easily, or at least a little bit more. And I'm very happy that you're all here. And I'm very curious to know your thoughts if you'd like to say them. Again, remember love and kindness. I don't mean to say that too much, but that's what this channel's about. It under everything else that I do on it, that's what this channel's about, and that's what because I will remove comments that aren't like that. That don't have those, I will make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying first. I will try to. But I mean, we've got 5 people here who's 4 now, but whatever, maybe the other person will come back. 100% who seem to be feeling this. And so, yes, I'm thankful. So again, I'm going to just step away for a couple minutes. Do feel free to comment. And then I think, like I say, we'll do that, and it's not just for him. I feel like he wants to do, I don't know. I don't know why I'm surprised. I don't think I should be. He's kind of like he's a free spirit, and he's like, he raps and he this and he that, right? He's like, I'm going to tell you what other spirit angels have told you before. He says, maybe I questioned my faith when I was living. I know I'm up here with God now. I mean, that's without a doubt. And that has strengthened my faith. For anybody who's religious and is unsure whether these could coexist, they certainly can, and it's a gift, I feel. And it has strengthened my faith. Sometimes I just call him the creator, and I think that's accurate. But when I hear them say it with such certainty, I mean, how can we not believe then, right? At least a little. So again, I'll be right back. After these messages, I'll be right back. I want to like hold it down for you, but I haven't went upstairs yet. It's interesting because I sense that Colton is like wanting to, and I'm very sorry if Samoa has been around and is what I also feel like although I could sense some things from her, her spirit isn't is strongly communicating. One, because it's hard, with everything else going on. Two, because she hasn't completely transitioned yet, and who knows when she will. I mean, eventually we all do. But I do, you know, it's like I don't like there to be gaps, although sometimes there has to be because then it allows you to focus on your comment easier, or sit and process, and all this stuff. And I get it, but also, um, like their presence is here, and I feel like they're like, well, I don't have to go upstairs and do anything. Like I could keep this, you know, rocking and rolling, so to speak. Um, I don't mean to add another element to all of this, but Colton's like, and he says, I know it hasn't been that long for her. And if her loved ones hear this, you know, he's like, shall I say it or should you? To my friend Ray. And they both come here and stand in front of me. And they're both saying, we still so very much love our loved ones as the people who they were in our life. We have not moved on from that, but we're in a different place now. So we kind of have. And Colton is saying, and he says, I just hope if my mother sees this, that, I don't know what to say about that, but I hope she does. And he says, because not that I'm shy. He says, not that I'm a shy guy or that I would hold back. But he says, when I was living, there wasn't too many people that knew this about me. Sorry that it's this topic is still going on, but four of you are here, and we'll end this off with the song. I think the prayer and the song. But he says, and I know how hard that can be. He says we all want the love and acceptance, and sometimes if we'd only be true and open about ourselves when it feels comfortable, we get so much more than we're allowing ourselves to have. He says, but I get why it's hard. And he says, I lived that. That was part of my existence. He says, it's a visual thing, but he says, I, but the thing was, he says, is that the people that knew and loved me, most of them knew that I was into women. And this is very interesting because he says, and I went through a point where when I realized that might not be so, I kind of did a real pivot. And addictions took over because I was confused. And now here I am. And he says, now I fall into the collective language. He says, but I do know who I am. And he says, I want you to know that me and your friend Ray have which is a female, have a relationship here in heaven. I think that's pretty sweet. I think that you make a nice couple. Yeah, thanks, man. um, I mean, you're both musical. And you know what's really interesting? I don't know if I should say this or not. We have 4 viewers. I mean, I learned to accept my friend Ray when she was kind of like, oh, I don't know if we could date. You know, I feel like I know you too well. You're too good of a friend. I wouldn't mess that up, essentially. Um, and, you know, in spirit, I feel like she's told me before, like, I didn't know if I could date a bi guy. And I don't know if we ever talked about poly, but she, you know, um, and she says, but now I know I can. You know, things are so similar, but yet so different in heaven, she says. So things are a bit more subdued, but a lot of the same stuff still exists up here. The good stuff. The good stuff. And she says, so I'm pretty sure that you and I have come to a point since my passing or before where you accept that we didn't date and you're cool with that. Yeah, pretty much, girl. Pretty much. Good. Good. And I'm just happy that you're both happy. So why this kind of came up is when I had to briefly leave the screen, which I still haven't done, I felt like they wanted to just kind of sit here with each other. And don't worry, they won't, you know, stare at you and make you feel awkward or whatever. They're going to mostly focus on each other. Keep it PG, okay? And if any of you get flash visuals, then maybe you're developing a bit of this gift, this ability. And maybe you're seeing what true love looks like from heaven. That's really, really beautiful and touching. Wow. I slightly rushed it, although I think some of you are probably still there because you're getting something from this. Colton has probably been one of the most expressive angels that I have had the pleasure of channeling. Not that the others aren't special or isn't, it's not, you know, because he said, I feel like my guess is right about my friend and that other individual because I don't know the one that was on your video very well, but I know my friend and I know that he's worrying about that same thing happening, which is why he's not starting the dialogue with his friend. You know, and there are so many things that make up a person. Like this isn't the only thing. You know, it's important. I would say it's important, and that kind of thing. But he says so. Sorry, I like water that's not too warm, not too cold, but honestly, all of these are pretty good temperature. Like Goldilocks just right. I'm guessing and hoping we still have Tim. I'm sort of hoping that the football individual might be back, and we have 3 of you there. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe if you would like to. While I was briefly upstairs, he did say something, of course, deep. And he said, it is hard to lose friends and loved ones. He says, I mean, I went through that in life. He says, how's this? How's this for a thinker? He says, I still have all the ones I had, and I gained the ones that one way or whether they passed away or we had a falling out or whatever. He says, I've gained them back in a sense because I can watch over them. And he says, dude, I was popular. And he says, so I can't, hang out for too much longer. Why did you delete present? Did you mean to? Don't you start doing it now. And then I accidentally saw touch football and thought, maybe that was accidental. Anywho, don't delete the present. It's what we got, and it's a gift for the most part. But no, he's just kind of saying like, and it's interesting because my grandmother, who I never met in this life, she had said that it must have been hard for me when Dad passed away. I lost him when she gained him. And that's very profound, I think. Mess with my flow. You saying present was not messing with my flow. It was actually keeping me in the present. I don't know how, but okay. Thanks for letting me know. Now, if only football person would come and confirm some of the, it is what it is. But there's definitely a flow. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, part of me wants to start a second podcast, make it a shorter one, take a bit of a breather, set it up. Hopefully some of you would come back and maybe just do the song. And part of me is like, no, I've got this all set up. I don't mind if it's a bit long. They do get long sometimes. Miscalculation on my part. No, it's no worries. It's no worries. Tim from Holland, who I would like to call friend, even if it's just here on YouTube land, because I like your vibe. And he says, that's what it's about. Wait a minute. I didn't sit on you guys when I came back, did you? And they're actually standing over here by the door and they're kind of laughing. Like he walked right past us. And then he thought he sat on us. Like, no, but we'll sit on you. The dog is so used to it. So used to this thing. Same friend. Cool. You said you don't have content. I'd like to encourage you to have content because I'd subscribe, I'd watch it. I spend a lot of time on YouTube while I'm trying to find my purpose and figure out my mid to late 30s. The rest of my life. That is so lyrical. It's going in the song. We're writing a song on the spot that we will perform at the end of this. And I don't know why the bottom 2 rows, the font went smaller. I think it was to differentiate that Colton did some of it and I did some of it. And Ray just did a line. And if anybody else would like to contribute, because, it feels good to be creative, it would be cool. And then, like I say, I'll try and put it in its own video. yeah, some people believe, some people don't. I almost kind of think, I don't want to say that you were a skeptic, Tim, but I kind of feel like maybe you might believe a bit more, and that wasn't my intent. But I mean, obviously, that's cool if you do. I mean, I'm not. I am, and I am. I am, and I'm not here to kind of, I'm here to make people curious and wonder. Can we hear what you have right now? Yes, but before I do that, I just really quickly want to, because I feel like Colton's going to distract me with it if we don't. So, whether we want to call this a prayer, a meditation, sending out healing vibes, I invite you to close your eyes if you wish, or leave them open. Light a candle or something if you wish, whatever. And something interesting is kind of transpiring here. And I'm going to try and do it. And it's going to get me kind of, where's Michelle? Where's Michelle? What's she up to? Just a moment here. Where is, I had the thing. I'm just thinking of a friend. What point are we at here in this? 211. 211 mark of the current video. Some interesting movement / qigong came into it, and I took a moment to do that because there's been somebody that's been trying to get me into qigong and movement type things, and what I feel is going to transpire here, which I had not thought would be the case, but I hadn't really thought one way or another, is when I put my hand up, when I put this hand up, and it's reversed on the camera, but whatever, that's going to be Colton. When I put this one up, it's going to be Ray. They're both feeling really creative, apparently, right now. I think I wrote the bulk of the song, and if you want to include your ideas in the song, now it would be your opportunity before I get to it. How would I would summarize it to be about life. And I think I may have, but I think I just got a title. Okay, so, and sorry to make you wait for the song, but okay, let's do this here. Let's do this thing. Okay, so Colton, Ray. Not that it hugely matters, but okay, here we go. For all those from our Creator that are just trying to be themselves, and they're diverse, and they're a good kind of special. I'm not even really fully paying attention to how this is working. I'm just doing it as I'm doing it, and that's what it is. May they feel love, acceptance, and peace within their soul. May they be able to express themselves for themselves or in the presence of others. May they live their best life, feel love, feel strength. There you have it. Okay, song time. Now, I have not put this to chords, but I do like the idea of going to the piano with it. And you know what's very interesting about this? When he visited me last night, when I was trying to sleep, and then, as I do when I'm having such sort of experiences, to show how interesting and real they are, and be able to kind of look back at them. It's not. He, I felt, kept saying sup, sup. And then, after a little while, I forgot that. And that's how this song starts. So as I get up, what I'm going to do here is just space it out so I can put some chords in so that I can look at this later and play it later in its own video or whatever. I will need some time, but yeah. This is so cool. It's not long. It's not long. Like, so I would love if there was a bit more contribution to it. Even if you don't think of yourself as a songwriter. It's come up in a couple of my recent videos where I have asked a kind of interesting question that just kind of randomly came to me that at that time. And so far nobody's basically it is, how would you, and I know this could be tricky, but go with the first thing that you think of. I think of when I visited my dad's grave in 2019 for example. How would you summarize and or define, one, who you are, and two, your life to this point in a couple sentences? Yeah. Give it a couple more minutes to see if anybody has anything come to mind, either based on those questions or in general. And then I'll do the song. I would like to try and figure out some chords. In Super Sound from the 70s, one other quick question for you. Did you say that you'd ever seen... you don't seem shy, and I think if you had, you probably would have commented before. So I don't think you've seen my content before, right? I don't really need to look at Messenger to tell anybody to come here. I've got... So far, I think currently just you, but a few people watching. Music is powerful. Music is... I've not always reached my goals in music, so sometimes, or certain songs can be a bit triggering, and it's important to kind of sit and well, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here, which is ironic because my brother knew one. Anyway, and I've thought about it a couple times. I titled one that was mostly music that I did a few days ago, and I was pretty much just letting the music speak. And it would be so interesting, whether they're already here or not, if the football individual came back while doing this song and, got something, really special from this that maybe needed. Do you have an answer to those deep philosophical questions I had? Be blessed, be well, be happy, be kind, be true, be you. And that reminds me of something that somebody said to me recently. We don't know that, right? But why don't you think? Now that I explained it, do you have an explanation as to why maybe he left? And maybe he'll come back and you're like, I don't know if I want to hear this guy right now, but I'll read the comments. Oh, the questions are why you think the guy left. I don't think I have our email address on this channel anymore. I don't mind reading, I mean, I don't read books much anymore, but I don't mind reading. And sometimes I find, as I often kind of show, we have to allow ourselves not to, force you or anything, but we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We have to allow ourselves to go there and to get out of our comfort zone sometimes. That's something I'm still learning, and it's hard, sometimes. But I do think it's worth it. I do think it's worth it. So I'm just going to quickly move on over to the piano here. I get what you're saying, but I don't. I totally realize that. I do believe that the world's come a long way in those, and and I sometimes even question whether I would call it an open mind or just a good way to be. But anywho, um, um, I'm not sure how he would have been offended though. Describing any of our lives is a lot. I mean, and some people would say 38 is not old, but I'll tell you, it's you can go through a lot. Yeah, I know what you mean. Mild typos I can get. You can go through a lot, at a young age. Life is not easy for any of us. I mean, it has great moments, but it's okay. I'll be right back. Oh, um, if you so I'm going to do my best to navigate things here. So I think you said that you're okay to kind of. I think that you said that it's okay if I kind of put, you know, you know, some of your words into this song. It's a good way to be for you and the world, boys, girls, and in between. I'm a bit neurotypical, yeah, so am I. So a lot of people, right? My IQ is so high I can't really function. I relate to that, but I think that I've learned to function. I've learned to work with it. And I'm sure you have too. And I'd like to acknowledge that for a moment. How far you have come. All of you. But the one who's commenting is letting themselves be very transparent and vulnerable. And I think it's lovely. I feel like I almost wrote a song about high IQ recently. Telling people you have a high IQ never lands well. Well, you ain't telling the right people. I mean, why wouldn't it? Sure, some people may say, and I should get outside because it's a little bit cloudy, but I think it's going to be on and off like that today. It's been, but some people may say, oh well, then I'm not on your wavelength. And I've been learning from someone quite a bit lately that sometimes if we adjust our vibrations, and we can. It ebbs and flows, but we can certainly get to people's wavelengths and learn to. It's a very interesting topic. I might do it in a separate video about neurotypicals and people who feel like sometimes like the universe just wasn't built for them, right? And sometimes they get quite hard on themselves, perhaps, myself included. We shouldn't, but we do, right? And yeah, it's tight. Okay, that's the first part is kind of what I kind of was alluding to. Expect miracles in the sense of, oh, expect you to have all the answers, maybe is what you mean. In which case, sure, share your wisdom, share what you've learned in life, even if it's in a summarized sentence to go into a song, you know. But remind people that they have to decide for themselves, and they can do that. They have had to do it in their lives to various capacities, and they will have to do it about hard things sometimes. And it's actually a blessing and a gift, I would say. Come think of it. That's not to say that we don't have moments, like you say, where we feel we aren't functioning very well and such and such. And it's in those moments where if somebody says, be you, you're like, I don't want to be. What was it that we found on the couch the other day? Oh, right. And I thought it was left here, but I guess he moved it. But it was a neat necklace. And I can't remember what I said. But I've had that thought. Even during that, it may be a good thing, what I'm alluding to, but it doesn't work miracles. I remember my mother once saying, what's a miracle? Or like I thought somebody else say a while ago, and I remembered recently, what's the universe? And I'm like, what do you mean? But also worth it, right? And also beautiful. And I listened to a song by Emmy about moments. I'm not sure if I like her musical style. I don't hate it. And I covered a song, a country song. It would be hard to find, so feel free to look that one up. I've had moments, I think it's called. Mentions homelessness, such and such. It's a country song. I can't remember who it's by. I want to say Brooks and Dunn, but I'm not sure. And if you don't like country, I hope you'd still like the song. And yeah, sometimes it's easy to feel, what's a miracle? Haven't had one of those in a while. But I think that the two of us that are here and myself and the angels that have visited us brought us one. You know, brought us what? Brought us many miraculous moments. Wow. I mean, I don't have a lot of energy, but this has all been very thought-provoking. So that I can put my best into the song, and I feel like that came up the other day in one of the videos too. And because my system is telling me I need to go upstairs for a moment, I'm going to, and then I'm going to do the song. Now, because you've given me permission to, I saw the one of you now, but no, this thing. Self-acceptance is a thing, isn't it? That's interesting. Okay, well then you know what? I know how much, but again, like I say, I do intend to put it in its own video, but yeah. I'll do what's in view right now. What's in view in this little square email box there I typed it. Best life, rest of your life. Um, and it'll be a little preview for the for later. Thank you for your time today, all of you. I do hope that you have a lovely day. I'm curious what you might be up to for the rest of your day. I might roll again later. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna bring this as high as I can. Okay, here we go. Little sample. I haven't thought of chords. Sup, dog, sup, dog, sup, dog, yo, sup. To be friend, or take it to the bed. And live the great life. And I want to thank the people who were in it and for being in theirs. Raise your special drink, wine, soda, or beer. I'm happy to have met my dear on his show. We're all strangers to each other till we know. I want to do the rest. Now that I'm getting into it. So it is. Let people be themselves and love them for it. Be yourself and adore it. You write your life, so live it right while on earth and in heaven. I'm working on me, I say I'm working on me. Working to be all that I know I can be. Putting it out there to resonate. Making people contemplate, curious. And in my kindness and love, all the angels above, from our angels above. Be happy, be blessed, so be blessed. Be happy, be kind and true. Be that and be you. It's a good way to be for you in the world. Boys and girls, men and women, and all the in between. And the beauty queens, just kidding. Drag queens, live your best life. Like it's the best life. It's the best of your life. Live it. This is on the spot, right? Live the best life. It's the best of your life. That we're talking about. Smile when you got there and know that you got it. Your best life. Not your best day. Be your best friend. Be for others. And we're back into the chorus. Carry that with you when you go through life and know it'll all be okay. Matter if you're big or gay, trans, non-binary, or still hetero, you see. All women have that in common. leave the rest up to faith or both. And you'll look down and you'll be proud and love and boast. It's okay to feel confident, and life goes on, but you're meant to be here. Whether you want and who you are is some sort of queer. It's okay to be that way or not. It's okay. Be blessed. Be happy. Be kind. Be true. And in all that, be you. And 3 out of the 1. I'm going to wrap this up. The live chat will hopefully display sometimes whether I tell it to or not. Sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. I haven't deleted any comments. Okay. It'll hopefully display somewhere. But I also will wrap this up so that if you want to comment on this song or anything else that you've heard, it will show in the general comments. Because, I don't care if the numbers are small, as long as the quality of the enjoyment and engagement is cool, I'm good with that. And so, again, don't be shy to comment, like, subscribe. And it is on a 3-1, but it's not always bad. And I knew that from last Friday. So I thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day. You've really helped make mine. Colton, Ray, all my angels, thank you. Yours do too, for taking the time to be here. Do your best. Go out and make the most of your life. And I hope to see you all again soon.